Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. Tonight, whenever the heck you're watching this, we are getting into at-home aging. What the heck is it? Is it worth it? Alright, so today we are talking about the concept of at-home aging. This can be done in a series of different ways. The way we are doing it today is with wood chips in a bottle of whiskey. And we'll get into that later. But you can also do things with getting a barrel, or they have huge like wood sticks that you can use. Honestly, I'm just using what I was personally given as a gift. So I don't know what the best version of at-home aging is. This is the first time of me ever experimenting with this. So I thought, what the heck, let's make a video out of it. So at-home aging is essentially putting whiskey with real, natural, real wood to kind of get more woodsy, oaky influence into your whiskey or whatever spirits. I guess you could theoretically do this with gin or vodka or whatever the heck, but we talk about whiskey here. That's what we do. All right, so for this experiment, we are using the Do You Know Your Whiskey kit. This is something that was given to me by my sister for Christmas. This is a really cool aging kit. They come with these two 375 milliliter bottles and a bunch of vials filled with like wood chips or like orange and like cocoa and other things. I mean, full disclosure, I stayed away from the orange, the cocoa, the chilies, all that jazz. I focused solely on the wood. I put the one bottle I think I really like, but I wish it had a little bit more complexity, because that's the whole concept of this whole re-aging. It's trying to get more out of your whiskey and trying to like age it up and make it more complex with still keeping it at the same whiskey without buying new stuff. And one of the bottles that I really love is Buffalo Trace. I just wish it had more of a bite, a little bit more aggression. So I took this Buffalo Trace. I took a whole tube of their dark chocolate wood chips and I put it in this for a month. So essentially around 2 tablespoons of wood chips into a 375 milliliter bottle of Buffalo Trace, aged for around a month, or actually at a month. This is at specifically a month. So Buffalo Trace, 2 weeks old in dark chocolate wood chips, and then a whole month. And I kind of stopped at a month because I don't want to over oak these. Let's go ahead and get into A, which is normal Buffalo Trace. This is the baseline. And this is that typical Buffalo Trace, very sweet caramel vanillas. A nice little bit of cherry and apple. A little bit of like a honey, kind of like hay-esque grassy note that I get on the nose. That's always thrown me for a loop. But I mean, obviously, this was my most drinked bottle of 2021. If you haven't seen that video, I'll try to post it there. Probably won't, probably forget. But I really like this bottle. And yeah, that traditional, like, just Buffalo Trace note that everyone loves. It's this creamy caramel, vanilla, honey, green apple, cherries, and a slight hint of oak, but like the slightest hint. It's very sweet. It's fantastic. And that's why it's my baseline and why it's the whiskey I picked, because I like it. But what if we added an extra oak layering? So 2 weeks after it's been sitting in this 375 milliliter bottle with dark chocolate wood chips, let's go ahead and get on the nose. Oh, okay. So this one's bringing out so much more brown sugars, chocolate on the nose. Everything's gone super dark. It's dark chocolate, brown sugars, creamy caramels, a nice little bit of like cherry going on there as well. Overall, in 2 weeks, the nose has significantly improved. Let's go ahead and get on the palate. So on the palate, definitely some dark chocolate, cinnamon, a little bit of like honey in there as well, and then nice little bit of like cherry note in there. a little bit more astringently oaky than I anticipated. It's gone kind of heavy into the oak. But that chocolate brown sugar note has exploded. That is so dominant and it's just taking over everything. Let's go ahead and get on to the 4 weeks, almost a month. And before we get into this, I'm a little nervous because the 2 weeks kind of dominated everything, and then it had a slightly astringent woodsy note on the finish. So this might not be the right bourbon for this, or we might have kept this in too long because I'm kind of nervous, but let's just get into it. Ooh. This smells like 1910 now. Like toasted marshmallows, chocolate. It's s'mores in a glass. Nice little bit of cherry in there. Yeah, literally, this smells like I turned Buffalo Trace into 1910. Maybe this wasn't a mistake. Let's go ahead and get on the palate. I don't know if I like that. It's getting tannicky and like oaky. It's very, very like stale oak. The nose improved significantly in my opinion. Palate, it's getting kind of funky, weird oak influence, a weird like tannicky oak, but it still has that like nice like chocolate brown sugar note. It's just kind of funky oak now. It has this weird funky oak brown sugar chocolate. Did this change for the better? I don't think so. I think 2 weeks, maybe a week. I think in a week this would have been perfect, because 2 weeks is kind of getting a little funky, but it's not overly funky, where 4 weeks, it's so funky on the palate. There's so much weird, like tannic oak that it's just, it killed it for me. I think this is a rad concept. It's fun. It works, yes. At-home aging changes your whiskey. So if you have a whiskey that you don't particularly love, or if you have something you love but you're like, can we make it better? Possibly. I think for this specific case, a week would have been the ideal situation. But again, we can only theorize that because I didn't take a sample at a week. I only took it at 2 weeks, and 2 weeks was already getting kind of funky. 4 weeks, it's old-fashionable, to say the least. I mean, the nose is fantastic at 4 weeks, but I also want to drink it, and it's so drying, oaky, and just kind of funky at 4 weeks. It's just not even worth it. Change isn't always good, but some change is good. So just be aware of that if this is something you're going to do. I would say do this with budget whiskey that you can easily replace. But that's gonna be a wrap for this video. Please do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys thought about this concept. Let us know what you guys thought about this video as a whole. Also check out the Facebook, Instagram, and the Patreon. The link for that is down there below. We appreciate y'all so much for your support so we can do these weird videos like this. Cheers. We'll see you later.